The first leadership behavior we're going to talk about is being directive. Often, leaders shy away from this behavior and think there's no place for it in creating that environment, engaging and motivating your team members. But actually, there are times when being directive is important. Before we get into when it's important, let's define what we mean by the directive leadership behavior. Directive leadership means you have a goal of immediate compliance. When I engage in this behavior, it means I need you, team member or team, to do what I'm saying right away without any negotiation or conversation. I need immediate compliance. Once we hear that definition, we again might start to think there's no place for that in effective leadership. But there truly are times where what we need is immediate compliance. When directive leadership behaviors are impactful and beneficial to your team is when it's a crisis. I always say when there's a fire, I don't need your input on how we're getting out. Grab your stuff, let's go. What's important to remember and really identify for yourself is what is true crisis for your team. Maybe it's that an order was put out incorrectly and we need to fix it right away. Maybe we have a power outage at our company and we need to pivot so that work can still get done. Maybe it's that we have team members that are struggling and we need to quickly rally around that team member so that we can get something accomplished that needs to be accomplished in the next hour. That's when the deadline was. So we need to get directive because this is not a time for negotiation. That's one of the times when directive behavior is effective. Another time when directive behavior is effective and when you should flex into this leadership behavior to be impactful is when you have very direct, rote tasks. There aren't a lot of other ways to do them. Maybe it's your standard operating procedure. Maybe it's to remain in compliance with whatever organization your company needs to remain in compliance with. The point is, they're very clear, outlined tasks, and there are no other ways to do them. You need to do them this way. So I'm going to flex into my directive behavior when guiding a team member or a peer through what they need to do because that's the procedure as it's outlined. Finally, when you have new team members join your team, that's actually a time to get directive because they're new and they don't know how to do the time systems. They might not know how to engage in these different things within your organization. And so you're simply telling them, here's how we do this. Maybe it's your organizational policy. Maybe it's something as simple as clocking time or tracking opportunities in a system. That's a time to be directive because they're new. And so I'm not asking for your input. I'm telling you how this gets done within our organization. Those are times where being directive are important. I do want to highlight those times, though, where directive behavior is not going to be the strategy you want to use to get something done. One, and the most important to remember, is long-term. This is not the behavior to engage in as your everyday. That's not going to create the environment people like, and instead you're going to be defined as a micromanager, and nobody wants to be defined as a micromanager. So directive behavior is not something that should be your standing modus operandi as your leadership behavior. But it is also not something you want to utilize when you have competent team members that are motivated and engaged. They don't need to be directed. They know what they're doing, they know how to do what they're doing, and they want to do what they're doing. So they don't need you to tell them how to do it, why to do it, or what they need to do. They're already on top of it. So let go. Those are times when the directive behavior is not impactful. It's going to have a negative result for your team. And that's when I would tell you to flex into one of the other behaviors. We're going to get into some more of them later, but this is when we talk about directive, which remember, that goal is getting immediate compliance.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.